man. So yeah, welcome to the Catch a Pump podcast. We have Eduardo here, Eddie. He works with Megastar Realty, right? One of their top producers. Is that correct?
Yeah, for so far. So,
Yeah.
I think the last one it was top producer.
Yeah. I believe it, man. I believe it.
Yeah, thank you.
So how old are you again, man?
27.
You're 27, so you're young, dude. You're young, and you're one of the few dudes I know right now that at this age that's just annihilating the game, bro.
Thank you.
You're annihilating the game. I gotta give you your flowers. You're killing it, man. So, if you want to just give us just a quick summary, man, who you are, what you do, and how you got started.
Yeah, man. So my name is Eduardo Estrada. I got started in real estate back in 2021, I believe.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the year. Doing this since then. Ever since then, started an HVAC company too.
Oh wow, I didn't know
Real
that.
estate team on the side, and then we have a couple things we do within the real estate space, but it's just mainly real estate and HVAC. So
it's fine. I was actually getting some quotes this weekend, bro.
Right.
You need to give me a quote on that too.
Of course. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let me know.
Yeah. And then, so when did you get started in real estate, man?
So I started in the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
So right when COVID kind of was hit.
Coming down, right?
Yeah, so the worst time you could start any type of sales job, any type of job
Yeah.
involves interacting with people or wanting to trade your homes. That's the worst time to do it. So that's when I started.
Yeah.
And then a few months later, everything kind of shut down.
Yeah.
The essential jobs were allowed. So it was pretty bad.
Right. Yeah.
I'm kind of glad I started in the worst possible time because you kind of learn that becomes your norm, your baseline. So anything worse than that's not that bad.
Right.
So that's when we started, and then ever since then it's just the market is tough now, of course, but it's tough then too. So the difference is really minimal.
Yeah. So you own a few properties, man. How many properties do you own right now?
Man, I don't know. I think
Think about it.
I have 8 right now.
8?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they cycle between anywhere between 3 and like 8. 10.
Right. Yeah.
It just depends on how people move them.
Yeah.
And not all of those 8 are properties that are generating money or anything like that. They're just properties that we're flipping right now.
Yeah.
We're trying to offload. And so it's anywhere between. Then I don't even really count them because
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't see any. I don't own them for very long.
Yeah. Definitely. That's impressive, man. That's impressive.
Thanks.
Especially for somebody your age, man. And that's why I wanted to have you on here, man, because I just know that you're super disciplined, man. I feel like you're super disciplined with your money. You're super disciplined with your financing.
Right, man.
All that stuff,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And that equates to the type of person you are today, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think was probably the hardest thing when it comes to getting into real estate, bro?
Man, the hardest thing is finding out why you want to do it to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, that's the case, I think, for any business. That requires a lot of time, a lot of discipline, and a lot of effort. And for real estate, like other types of businesses, you don't just... Well, some people do, of course, but when you jump in there, you're not going to make much for a while. For months. So you really have to have a strong reason to hold you from quitting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people, just like anything else, they get into real estate. You see a lot of agents and investors very well for themselves, and say, I'm going to get my license. I want to go buy a house or a flip or a rental.
Or a McLaren.
Yeah. It doesn't really work out because, again, you're missing all the basics up front. So you don't highlight any of those basics. Your business starts to kind of fall apart, and then you have no passion for it. You have no love for it, and you quit because you don't see the money happen like
Right. Exactly.
I would say, man, if you want to get into something like real estate, you really have to have a strong passion for what you're doing.
Right.
And that could be, real estate, there's so many niches you can be a part of. So find your niche and love it. But because if you don't, anytime the market gets tough, like it is now, the rates are high, high, everything's against you. But if you love what you do, man, and you're in that right niche, that doesn't matter what market we're in, what's going on with the economy, you just like it so much, you don't think you're going to keep going, and it's going to get you through those hard times. But if you have if your drive is just money, it's not
enough. Yeah, it's
because the money will dry up.
Right,
You know what I mean? The money will dry up quick, especially if you live a specific lifestyle, or if you only do well in the good markets. That's easy. Anybody can do that.
You're fucked.
You do better in the tough markets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those tough markets.
How are you gonna get through that? So you have to have that passion.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, so, in respect to that question now, could you share kind of like, I want to know what's the hardest thing that you've gone through as far as real estate? Maybe it was a client, maybe it was a transaction. Or,
so I mean, I've had super difficult clients, man.
Yeah.
Now, as you spend more time in the business, your clients are not. Yeah, they're difficult, of course, but you run into them. It's not that you run into less difficult clients. You're just more experienced to mitigate it from the beginning.
I like that.
You know what I mean? So you become more prepared, so you know exactly what to clear up before anything even starts.
Right.
So any problems that come up have already almost been addressed completely.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, it's a curveball like there always is. But I would say the biggest obstacle I had, man, wasn't even in the business itself. It was just in myself.
Yeah.
Just who you have to be, what personality you need, what you need to become. Because who you are is what a lot of times what you end up attracting.
Right.
So if you're not a specific type of individual and you want to participate at the level of somebody else, you're not going to be able to do it.
You're speaking fast. Like, I got the chills when you said that.
You're not going to be able to do it.
It's so true.
So you have to build yourself first before anything else. You have to learn. Am I speaking in a way that is going to give me what I want?
Yeah.
If you're not, then fix that first.
Right.
Do I act in a way? Do I carry myself a specific way?
Right.
How do I think? How do I react to certain things? How emotional am I versus how logical? So there's so many variables within an individual personality that.
Right.
Of course, you're not going to have them all up front. You're going to build them slowly, but you got to make sure that you have some of those basics done up front, man.
Right.
Suffer a lot.
Definitely. Oh man.
So that was for me personally. Was just I was a little bit too soft. I was very easily offended.
Right.
When things didn't go right, or when somebody would criticize me or say, "Hey man, can you do this?" I would take it very personal.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of youngsters do. That think they're on top of the world. Yeah, of course. Everybody's like that. So, but if you don't know that, and you're not conscious, man, you're gonna get wrecked.
Yeah. You gotta have thick skin.
Yeah, absolutely. And you build that by somebody beating you down for a little bit, and then you come out of it a little bit stronger. So that's just how that works. But and also to me, it was I was very shy and kind of, I would say, pretty relatively insecure.
Yeah.
I would stutter a lot, and you probably hear me stutter here.
Yeah. Don't worry about
before, man, I had no confidence. I was so shy and timid that man, I wanted to avoid sales. I wanted to avoid any interaction,
confrontation.
But I knew I knew that I had to embarrass myself more than everybody else if I wanted to kind of cross that bridge. That's
man, I love that.
So I knew I had to suffer, man. I couldn't live for all along, right? Suffer forever, but you are going to suffer, and you have to suffer for a while until something clicks in you that you see that change, and you just kind of take it from there.
That's going to be a nice clip right there, dude. We're going to get that clip over to you. Man, so you started a podcast too, right?
No, it's actually Cesar Reyes. He's the broker.
Cesar Reyes? Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to have a chat with him, have him on here too,
yeah, man. Cool
I'll listen to that podcast, man. You were dropping a lot of gems on there. So was he. So I was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I got to invite him on here.
Thank you, man. Yeah, Cesar's a super smart guy, man.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to those guys, man. Cesar, I'm going to reach out to you soon, man. All right, so do you have any mentors in your life?
I would say I still do, of course. Yeah. And you always have to have somebody, whether you reach out to them every day or periodically, of course. But in the beginning, I was saying the first 2 years, I had a mentor that was a game changer for me personally.
Yeah.
Without that mentor that I had, man, I would not even be sitting here with you at all.
Right. How important was that?
I would say it was 99% important.
Right. Yeah. That's how I feel. The same way about my mentors, bro.
Yeah, and it's very hard to find because you need to find somebody that you respect enough to take advice from, and you see them as somebody you one day want to be.
Right.
You can't just be somebody with a Lamborghini. It can be, sure, but if you don't click with them, man, if there's no, I'm not sure the word here, but there's no connection, I guess, between you and them. You're not really gonna they're not going to benefit you much.
Right.
All you see is just a little bit of it. But
Yeah.
they almost have to be like a father figure to you.
Exactly. So my last mentor, he came in here. He sat right here where I'm at. He said the same exact thing you just said.
Yeah.
And it was the craziest thing. It's crazy hearing you say that because he was saying the same thing. Yeah, you see a lot of guys out here with the Lambos and all the stuff, and then it's like, you know, can they really teach you anything?
Right.
Are they really? Yeah. Are they really doing? You know, do they have the same values that you have, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the biggest thing, you know, and especially in real estate. I'm sure you can attest to this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of real estate people that are just like, I'm gonna go shit, like, cut me my check. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you deal with them all the time, you know, but you got to put the ethics. Anything else, you know, you may get that quick payday, that money. It's just like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
You put somebody over, you may get that quick payday, man. That money's not gonna last you.
Yeah.
You put somebody over, man, that money's gone.
Yep.
It's like you may as well not even have paid it.
Yep. Have you ever thought about mentoring others?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like my little brother, I would say I mentor him on a daily basis.
Nice.
He's incredibly successful.
Yeah.
Also.
So when I met you, I had you on Facebook first.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing you at the gym.
Right.
And I started like, hey, what's up, man? We started doing that, kind of like networking, right?
Yeah.
How important has networking been to you in your career, man?
I would say I'm not much of a socializer, man.
Yeah.
I don't really. There's a lot of social, like real estate investor events. I don't really go to very many of those. But I would say it is important. Absolutely. Yeah. When you do go, you know, just make use of why you're there.
Right.
Obviously, you're not just there to make money, but you're there to, you know, to build relationships, to help each other out.
Right.
That's the idea. I wouldn't say it's been a crucial part of my success.
Right.
But it is definitely a variable in the equation, if you will.
Right. Exactly. And then, have you ever gone to a networking event and something like that lead to you maybe closing a deal or like,
all the time. Every time. Absolutely. Yeah. Whether it's an HVAC deal or a real estate deal, it's always there. Like I said, you're just there really. I mean, you're not only there just for this, but you're there to bring value. So if somebody there has a problem that you can fix, then if you could put something together like that, that's awesome. Of course, you know, they're totally there. That's their idea too. But that's really why what I would consider to be the benefit of a networking event is if somebody has a problem that you can somehow fix, if you're together to fix the problem, then that's awesome. For
sure. Yeah, that's why we do this, right? You know, and so, man, like, it's crazy too for me because, you know, I see all the stuff you're doing. I see you buying properties, you're doing flips, you're doing all this stuff, man. What do you think the key factor is for somebody that wants to be like you? Where's the first step they have to take if they want to start becoming a real estate agent, doing flips, and, you know, getting to the point where you are now?
I mean, there's a lot of different things, of course. I wouldn't encourage anybody to be like me. I would just encourage them to be yourself and find the space that you operate the best in.
Right.
That's what I would always recommend. But if you want to be, I guess if you break it down into maybe as in terms of, I don't know, income. I don't really know how else to say it.
Yeah.
I would just say find out what you're attracted to, whether that's finance, real estate, business. You know what? It could be a billion different things.
Yeah.
So find out what you're attracted to the best.
Yeah.
And see how you can operate the best in that space so that you can last long enough to see some success in it.
Yeah.
That's the key at the end. It's
right.
Not necessarily just doing something for 3-6 months, even a year or two. It's really how long can I stay in here and see that that growth.
Yeah, man. Because like
resilience for them.
Yeah, for sure. Because like for example, we've been in business now 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, but like we just got our first warehouse in February.
That's fun.
You know, so it's like those 5 years, man. We didn't see much of a profit.
Right.
And I think the first 2 years I worked in business, I went from making $50,000 a year. My first year in business, dude, I made like $25,000 a year, dude.
So it is.
My second year in business, I made like, you know, I think I made like 38 or something like that. But it sucked taking that hit, you know? It sucked taking that. But it's a sacrifice because, you know, now look at where we are now. Now we're doing $1 million.
And you didn't put the money first.
Yeah.
You knew what you wanted to do despite the short-term loss of that money.
Yeah, definitely. So, and I've heard from, some people, I hear about you, bro. I hear you take care of your customers, bro. That's what I've heard. I've heard you go the extra mile. I heard you take care of your people, and I heard you're a great negotiator, man. What do you think goes into, being a good communicator and negotiator?
I would say just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. I think in the beginning, just like anything else, when you're starting something, you're not confident enough to say when things are going wrong.
Yeah.
So, if you're representing a client and something goes wrong, and now you got to call them and say, hey, man, we have a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Most people, I used to do this, just, man, I don't want to make the call. So
I know how that goes.
Yeah, 2 hours, 3 hours. All right, man, how am I going to word this? How am I going to explain? How am I not going to piss them off? Or something? Now I just make the call.
Yeah.
I just make it. I don't care. I'm not saying that things
just nip it at the bud.
Yeah, I just make the call, and 99% of the time, it's not even that bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just all in your head, right? You're almost just afraid of their response, but what you realize is the longer you take to solve these problems, the harder it is to solve them. So
right.
The quicker you can solve these problems, you can just move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're in the day with no problems.
I love that, man. I love that because, man, that shows that you have courage, right? And when a client sees, like, okay, he's willing to call me, he's willing to tell me the bad news, right. I think that's huge, man. Because like you said, everybody feels the same way.
Yeah,
there's not a human on earth that doesn't have a problem like that isn't afraid to make that call, So, man, like, what advice do you give to somebody who lacks courage, in that industry? Not in your industry, but just in that type of situation, right?
Just practice.
Practice, right?
Practice getting used to giving bad news.
Yeah.
And that's really good at giving bad news. That's a huge character. I think it's a very important characteristic to have because you become very, very effective in a position. And you put yourself in a position where people call you now because you're the problem solver. And
I love that. I love how that goes. Yeah.
So in any business, man, your job is just to solve somebody else's problem. If you're in any type of customer service, right, you just solve the problem. In essence,
right.
To become really good at that, people are calling you, and that's just how you grow any type of business.
Yeah.
That's really what you're doing. But if you're always dodging phone calls and dodging problems, you're passing it on to somebody else. You're not really giving people a whole lot of confidence.
Right.
To use their services
or to grow themselves.
Yeah, so it's like having a business. Go be an employee and have that, have the boss do it.
Right. Yeah. And, oh man, I love that too because it's like that kind of brings me into my next question. Do you believe that entrepreneurship is for everybody?
Man, it depends. It depends on how badly you want to do something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's for everybody. I think everybody could do it.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right.
But it's not for everybody. It just depends on how bad you want to do what you want to do, and how much you're willing to sacrifice, and how hard you're willing to work.
Right.
Because in the beginning there is no balance.
Right.
The questions there, I think you asked me how do you balance work and my personal life.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning there's no
balance. There's no personal life.
No,
dude.
man, the first 2 years, I mean,
there's no weekends.
Yeah, there is no. Every day is the same day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every day is the same, and you're just working until you build enough of a foundation for yourself,
right?
Where you can then give up or leverage a little bit of time,
right?
And give up some of that stuff. But in the beginning, if you're not willing to make that 1 or 2 year sacrifice, as an entrepreneur, it's going to be very difficult. For you to, break that boundary and start making some.
Right.
Money, I guess you could say.
I love that too, man. I love that because I talk about this all the time, man. I was always very all in.
Right.
I didn't care about weekends, parties. I didn't care about, the girls. I didn't care about, I didn't care about none of that crap. I felt like I really locked in, dug deep, and was like, I'm going to do this. I'm not going to stop until we get to where the fuck I'm supposed to go. What does going all in mean to you in the context of entrepreneurship?
I would say that going all in just means it doesn't really matter what, like you said, it doesn't matter if you don't have a girlfriend, if you don't have any money, if you don't have any friends,
right?
If you're not talking to your family for a while,
if
you don't have any of those kind of like social gatherings, I guess you could say. If you're
Yeah.
not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
The only thing that matters is what your goal is at that moment.
Yeah.
So if you could just ignore everything else and hit that goal, man, that's
Right.
the moment.
Ooh, I love that.
To me, at least. And it doesn't matter how you feel either.
Yeah.
A lot of people like, I mean, I'm kind of maybe a little bit too extreme with
Yeah.
emotions, but I think at the beginning, it doesn't matter how you feel about absolutely anything because you're not educated enough to know how to feel anyways. You're only going to react to things because you're not prepared yet.
Right.
You don't know how to react.
Right.
So your feelings are just a natural response
Yeah.
to any other human, right?
Right.
So they probably don't mean anything. They have no weight behind it.
Right.
So ignore how you feel and just keep going. It doesn't matter if you're a little scared, or angry, frustrated, insecure. It doesn't matter because that's just a response. So be conscious that what you're feeling it's fine to feel it, of course.
Yeah.
But acknowledge that what you're feeling doesn't hold any weight. There's no logic behind it. There's no success behind it. Just keep going, and eventually you'll know how you need to feel.
Exactly.
How you need to feel to perform at that level. So I would just say that would be my all-in.
Right. Okay.
Definition.
I love that, man. That's fucking awesome. And that kind of brings me to my next question too. Like, do you remember and can you explain when you first had that moment where you were just like, you saw the opportunity and you were like, if I take advantage of this opportunity, what's the back end of that look like? Do you remember what that moment was like and when that happened?
Yeah, in real estate or in
just in general, man, but like specifically, real estate, because that's kind of what kind of got you like from from point A to point B, right?
Yeah, in real estate, I'm trying to think of a time. I think of a lot, man. I mean, I was so awkward when I started, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to be around my mentor while he was doing client because I didn't know that I had to say anything, if I had to stand there. How do I stand there?
Right.
And, I had no idea. I was so nervous and so awkward, man. It was horrible. So I would say that moment kind of clicked when I understood that I had to feel all that stuff.
Yeah.
I had to go through all of those bits of emotion and awkwardness and insecurity and
right.
And scared to make a phone call even to my own mentor. I was scared to call him and tell him
Yeah.
stuff. But I understood that I had to do these things just to move forward.
Right.
And that's kind of when that moment clicked where it's cool if something happens and you lose a little bit of time, and you lose a little bit of money, or you lose a little bit of or you embarrass yourself.
Right.
Or you look like a fool for a little.
Right.
You have to do that stuff.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to do it. Otherwise, you don't know how to get out of it. Once you're in that scenario again. So I think the more I started to understand, it's okay to fail many times, more than everybody else. Because the more you fail, obviously, the more you learn and the more you can.
Right.
But then it doesn't really seem like a failure. It's just, whatever I messed up.
Right.
Now I know not to mess up. So you can move on to the next.
Yeah. Nah, definitely, man. Yeah, and that's that's kind of what goes into entrepreneurship too. And then this is something that Patrick Bet-David said recently. He said, "Man, you need to learn 10 to 25 new skills every 6 months now to keep up with technology,
Absolutely.
AI, just all this new stuff coming out. You have to be active constantly, man.
Yep.
How important do you think it is to continue learning new skills in order to keep up with like competitors and the difficulty of dealing in a tough market like this?"
I think it depends on what you want to do and what you're trying to run.
Right.
So if you're just let's just in real estate, what I meant, so I'll just do that. So let's just say you're a realtor and you have all these changes coming in with the dark settlement lawsuits, and you have all these different kind of things. So you have to put yourself in a position where you can learn to help more than what you're already doing.
Right.
So how many more? And then that goes back to what you said. Well, what skills do I need to help a broader clientele?
Right.
Now that all these changes are coming in.
Yeah.
So I want to say it's incredibly important.
Yeah.
Not always. It's not. I'm not saying you have to learn a new skill every single week and just be make that your only goal.
Right.
But you do have to acknowledge that if what you're doing is being challenged,
right,
you do have to go out and be able to serve a broader range of people just to have more clients.
I like that, bro. I like that a lot because that I feel like the market where we're in now.
Yeah.
And I say this because I have a lot of realtor friends that don't speak Spanish, right? And now I feel like we're entering this space where a lot more Hispanic people are starting to buy their own homes.
I agree with that.
You know, and so what do you think that there's like untapped market there because of the lack of you know, pretty much the language barrier that's there?
Of course. Yeah, man. So we give an example. This kind of aligns with what you're saying
Yeah.
about skill sets and the Hispanic market.
Yeah.
So about a year ago, me and my brother-in-law and I started flipping homes along with
Yeah.
So we partnered up. We started flipping houses. We learned how to flip houses, how to
Yeah.
manage construction, run the numbers, and all that.
Right.
So now I have a lot of clients now that are Hispanic only, and they're also just started getting into the investor space.
Right.
But before I had contact with them, you know, they would say we would try and learn from. You know, we would go. I think one of them spent like $10,000 on some course in Florida, got nothing out of it.
Oh crap.
Another guy, I think he was buying deals like off the MLS. Just there was no numbers behind it. It was just that's a distressed
property, right?
Just do it, then it didn't work out. But they would say, you know, that the amount of resources they had to access at the time were low and still kind of are.
Right.
So now that I learned that skill set of how to flip properties, and I speak Spanish, so I can cater to that market now. So that's another market.
That's what I was saying.
Apart from the first home buyer market, apart from my own flips and my own rentals and HVAC, so it's just another small market, and it doesn't really require a whole lot of time and energy to operate in because I'm already in that space. I already do all those things, so it's just maybe an extra couple of hours a day.
Right.
You know, and the margin there, great, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying. You know, I think now with a lot of people, what a lot of people try and do, and I'm sure you've noticed this, is they'll try and have multiple businesses at once. Yeah. You know, we'll have, you know, a guy with 6 different businesses, but the first one can't even make 6 figures. So if I have 6 businesses, then your first one can't even make 6 figures.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, I think, something that I've seen that doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
So make sure that if you're going to go and have another business, make sure that either your first one is making a lot of money first, and then you can go try something else outside of that space. Right. Or you could just go downward and go into another business within that space that doesn't take too much time from your original. Right. You can make $500,000 from 6 businesses, but why would you do that? You could just make $500,000 from one.
Right, and then make $500,000 from all 6.
Yeah, and then once you learn how to operate them all and scale them all, and then, you know, obviously you're just outsourcing work, but I think that's a mistake that I see amongst young people. They'll do like detailing, and then they'll go and try and sell houses, and then they'll get their lender's license, and then they'll try and do something else. But it's all within 1 year. So there's no way you're doing any. You're not progressing. Right. Stick to one thing, and then nail down that one thing, and then move on to the next.
Yeah, because people are chasing that, like,
the money, man.
They want that overnight success, man. But how many years did it take you to become an overnight success?
It took me probably about 10 years.
Exactly. It takes a long fucking time, man. You know, we started our business, you know, 7 years ago. Yeah. It wasn't until last August that we were finally profitable. Right. You know,
but I bet you, if you were to start another business, you'd probably make it profitable in 6 months, a year.
Right. Probably even less. Yeah, man. Because I learned.
Less, yeah, of course.
Yeah, because I think one of the biggest things, I think the most important skill that I've learned in the last 10 years, man, is how to be a good marketer.
Yeah, that's huge, man.
Because if you can't get that phone to ring, there's nothing. It doesn't matter how good a salesman you are. It doesn't matter how many deals you've done. It doesn't matter what car you drive. It doesn't matter how many properties you own. If that phone isn't ringing, and if you're not, you know, and it's the same with us. Like if my phone's not ringing, and we had this problem. It's not that our phone wasn't ringing last month, but my assistant was telling people that we were too busy when we weren't, in an effort to minimize her workload. So we had to let her go. But that goes back to my main point, is if you're not connecting with the customers and you're not connecting with your market, especially in a niche market like, you know, real estate, because you can't just go out and become a real estate agent. No, that I've seen people that specialize in mobile homes.
Yeah.
I've seen people that specialize in a certain area only. Yeah, yeah. I've seen I've seen investors that literally stay in one neighborhood, and they just they're just staying because they're like, this is where I make money, dude.
That's fine.
Why am I going to go somewhere where I may or may not make money?
Right.
I know the money's here. I might as well stay. Yeah, exactly. So, as far as your properties that you own, the ones that you buy and hold, would you say that they're relevantly in like the same areas, or they're just wherever there's a good deal?
I have one in Thor and one in Aurora.
Okay.
But my plan is to move that one out of Aurora and buy this up north.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the more time you spend doing it.
Yeah.
You just refine your market.
Right.
I mean, you learn. I don't need to be everywhere. I actually need to be somewhere that I can operate the best.
Right. Yeah. Cool. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you this because this is something I'm curious about. You bought a supercar.
Yeah.
What's that like? Tell me a little bit about that,
It's
man.
not much of it. Yeah, but it's actually not a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to. I think as a man, every man's child's dream or goal, right?
Right.
Ferrari, Lamborghini, whatever it is, and you get it. Man.
Yeah.
It's cool to say, oh yeah, I can afford it. It's not.
Yeah.
A huge deal. But
How do you like it?
It's cool. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah.
I actually had a Ford Raptor before that.
Yeah.
Raptor to get the McLaren, and I prefer to get the Raptor back and get the McLaren.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's not a lifestyle that I live, man.
Yeah.
I'm a fearlessly kind of guy.
Yeah.
So to me, a Ferrari or a McLaren, Lamborghini.
That's super humble, bro. That's super humble.
And it's cool, when you're driving it around, people are looking at it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Right.
It's cool, of course.
Yeah.
And it's cool to go really fast, too.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not my lifestyle, man. So I think as you get older, you learn what lifestyle you want to live.
Yeah.
And then you just stick with it.
Right.
And of course, there are changes over years.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I got it out of my system at least to know that I don't want to.
That's how I feel.
It doesn't fill me with any more joy than driving my black car.
Yeah. I went to Andy Elliott's sales training. You heard of Andy Elliott? Yeah, so I went to Andy Elliott's sales training in January, on January 21st. And I rented a BMW i8 for the weekend.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it was freaking awesome, man. And I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to go back to Colorado and not be driving that freaking car anymore, And but it's like you said, like after that weekend, I like kind of got it out of my system, and I'm like, that's cool, man. Like if I visit other cities, I'll go rent a McLaren for the weekend. I'll go rent a Lambo for the weekend, whatever. Because I just got that Ford F-150. I got a Tremor, and I love that thing, man. We got a ton of stuff done with it. It does marketing, it does. We got it all wrapped in stuff, and so it does the marketing. And we've actually gotten a few calls from people from our van, our box truck, and the pickup, and the red Nissan Titan too. And we're like, it actually does its job. Like people actually call, like, hey, I saw you guys on the highway, or I saw you guys in my neighborhood doing asbestos removal, doing water mitigation or fire restoration, whatever the case may be. And we reached out to you, because of that. And so that stuff is huge. And again, it goes back to that marketing stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idea behind the McLaren was the same.
Yeah, it's huge marketing right there.
The McLaren was, okay, well, let me go out, get a supercar, and be around other successful individuals.
Yeah.
Of course, that's a lot of people.
Right.
We're agree with that. That's actually the advice I got from the guy I talked to before that. But and then you kind of think about it, you're like, man, I don't really, this car doesn't align with my values.
Right.
I don't necessarily want to be around all the successful people because sometimes I just kind of want to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Just do it.
I love that, bro, because you don't let the McLaren define who you are.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people that are like, oh no, I gotta have the Rolex. I gotta have the Lambo. I gotta have and I want a Lambo and a Rolex just as much as an F guy.
That's cool. You align their values, man.
Yeah.
It's just it all comes down to is it align with what you want to do.
Right.
Like for me personally, the McLaren and when I love the supercars, they just don't. You know,
Yeah.
I just have other things that I prefer to do. Like, I just like to work. Working
Right.
is what, on a day-to-day basis, you know, that's what brings me joy, I guess.
Right.
Running a McLaren is fun, but it doesn't make you feel as good as fixing problems. That's what I
Right.
really want to do. So I figured that out.
Ooh, that's so neat. Right.
I'm sure I may go buy a Lamborghini later in the
Yeah.
years from now, but I'm not buying it for the reason I used to think it was for.
Right.
I'm just buying it because it's really sensible.
Right. And some marketing involved, right? There's
Sure,
some
yeah,
marketing
of course.
involved.
And you do, it does help, of course.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say.
Willing to talk to you if you're at a certain level of success, which is completely fine.
Yeah.
That's how it is. And
Yeah.
It is. So it does help you out a little bit.
That's how I was too. Before I bought this F-150,
Yeah.
man, I used to pull up in my 2014 Honda Accord,
Yeah.
man, and I literally had lost jobs because my competitor came in the Super
Nice
Duty,
car.
the Super Duty F-250
Right.
with their logo
Yeah.
on it, you know, and they're like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this guy, and they didn't say it. They didn't say it,
Yeah.
but I knew what it was, you know, and like, you know, I'm like you, I'm you know, super humble, dude. Like, I'd rather pull up in the Honda, dude, because I like to save money, dude. I love the gas mileage. Like, I have the Honda right now. It's in the garage, dude, and it sucked because it got hail damage when it hailed, you know, like it was like 2 weeks ago, and it got hail damage, and I moved the Honda outside. I parked the F-150 inside, and now it's getting totaled out. It's getting paid off. I think I owed maybe like $9,000 on it still. But now I have a salvage title 2014 Honda Accord, and I call it the Humble Honda. And man, I prefer that thing over everything. You know, I just because. But the thing is, it's like you said, it sucks that people are this way, but people do look at you based on the things that you have. And yeah, if you do go get a nicer pickup or a supercar, yeah, people are going to be more likely to, you know, get close by you because they feel like, all right. And it kind of brings me to my next topic is people want to hire winners.
Right, of course.
People want to hire winners. People don't want to hire a loser who's just going to lose some more.
Right.
You know? And it sucks that people think that way because it's like, dude, I was in my Honda. I got this F-150 and when did I get it next? It was like in February, March.
This year?
Yeah, this year. Last year, just between August and December, I sold 800,000 in a Honda Accord, a 2014 Honda Accord. And yeah, and so I'm like, the fact that people think that they're doing better than me because I drive a Honda Accord, but I'm selling 800,000, making 50% profit, and you're, you know, at a salary, $100,000 salary a year job, and you're doing this, and you think that because I drive a Honda Accord, there's levels to this shit, you know, and it comes back to like, well, you know, what type of person are you? How were you raised? What is your character like? My parents, and you know, and we see this a lot in the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
We have the type of values where we don't judge somebody based on their appearance. We try not to judge people based on the money they make. Like, that's how my parents taught me, and I see that you're the type of person that's how your parents taught you as well. And it you know, it just sucks that, you know, we live in this world where people prioritize the material stuff.
It's social media, I think, is a huge reason.
Yeah, I think
that's the only reason. But
right.
It's a huge reason.
Yeah, especially nowadays, right? Especially like all the podcasts and freaking Andrew Tate calling me a brokey and all that.
That's how we deal with it. Right?
Screw you, Andrew. You're a brokey. That's hilarious, man. Yeah. So would you say that the McLaren has helped with networking then?
No, but not because I haven't. I
You
would say
did
that
that?
because
Yeah.
I don't do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? When I got it, the guy asked some advice. I was at a point, and I asked him, "Hey man, what's my next step from here?" This game, I guess. He said, "Go buy a supercar, bro."
What?
I was not expecting him to say that. I told him, I thought you were going to say something like some sort of bottle I was missing, or
Yeah.
I don't know, something, right? Something logistical, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, go buy a supercar.
Yeah, because I have a buddy. His name is DK. Shout out to DK.
Yeah.
My buddy DK. He has a red Urus, and he lives right there in Cherry Creek, man. You might have seen it around right there somewhere. He has a red Urus, and His mentor told him the opposite.
Yeah.
He went and bought the Urus, and his mentor's like, dude, go take that shit back. Go take that shit back right now. He's like, that 250 right there, he's like, that's your next property's funding right there.
Yeah.
You know, and you can make another 250 on top of that 250, and then, you know, but, you know, I ask because it's like, you know, I've always loved cars, bro. I've always loved cars, and I've always, you know, it's my, you're living 99% of guys' dreams, you know, and I think that's super awesome for you, bro. I think that's super awesome, and I think that, you know, I think it's just, I do believe it's going to bring, because of the type of person you are, I do believe making that move will bring you more success, you know. I wouldn't say that for, like, anybody. I wouldn't say, like, hey, anybody, go get you a supercar, and you're just gonna freaking, you know, you're gonna be the third Tate brother. Like, no, you know, that's not at all. But for specific people, you know, and for you especially, I would say that is a good move, right?
Yeah.
Because it invites a lot of, you know, a lot more exposure. You're on, you know, you're on podcasts now. You're probably going to start closing more deals. Soon as 2024 is over, and you know we got a new president in January, and everything, you know, comes back into play. I think that in the long run, I think all the stuff that you're doing and the character that you have is going to bring you like just an influx of fucking business, dude. So you know, I just want to say I think we probably should wrap up now, man. But I just want to say thank you, man, for coming on to Catch a Pump. Yeah, dude, and I appreciate all the value that you're bringing. I hope that anybody that is looking to, you know, improve their real estate business or improve their, you know, their sales and stuff, has learned something here from you. And, you know, again, thank you, man, for coming to Catch a Pump, bro. I appreciate you the time. Yes, sir. Thank you, man. That was a good one, dude. Yeah.